The Great Hall of the Galactic Council stretched for nearly a kilometer. Pillars of living crystal rose toward a ceiling that showed the stars themselves. 12 massive chairs sat in a circle, each one holding a being from a different species. They had ruled the galaxy for 9,000 years. Their word was law. Their power was absolute. Admiral Park stood in the center of this hall, feeling very small. He wore his dress uniform, metals shining under the strange alien lights. Beside him stood Doctor, Earth's chief diplomat. She kept her face calm but could see her hands shaking slightly. They had come to ask for membership. Humanity had discovered faster-than-light travel only 50 years ago. They had built colonies on 12 worlds. They had met alien traders and learned about the Council. Now they wanted a seat at the table. The High Speaker looked down at them. He was tall and thin, with silver skin and 4 arms. His eyes held nothing but contempt. "You asked to join us," he said, his voice echoing through translation devices. "You who have existed for merely a heartbeat. You who still fight wars among yourselves. You who cannot even agree on a single government. Step forward. High Speaker, humanity has much to offer. Our scientists have made advances in quantum mechanics that could benefit all species. Our artists create works that have moved beings across the stars. We seek only friendship and fair trade." Laughter came from the delegate. He was short and round, covered in blue fur. "Friendship? Your species tried to eat one of our traders last century." "That was a misunderstanding," said quickly. "Cultural differences that have since been resolved." "Enough." The High Speaker raised one of his 4 hands. "The Council has already discussed your request. Earth is classified as a pre-enlightened civilization. You are too violent, too primitive, and too dangerous to be given full rights. You will be placed under protected status. This means you cannot expand beyond your current colonies. You cannot develop weapons above Class 3. You will pay tribute to the Council for the protection we generously provide." Felt his jaw tighten. "And if we refuse?" The High Speaker smiled. It was not a kind smile. "You cannot refuse. This is not a negotiation. This is a notification." Touched arm, warning him to stay calm. "We thank the Council for its consideration," she said, bowing slightly. "We will return to Earth and discuss these terms with our government." As they walked back to their shuttle, wanted to scream. He wanted to turn around and tell those arrogant creatures exactly what he thought of them. But he stayed silent. Had warned him before they came. Whatever happened in that hall, they had to appear weak. They had to seem defeated. Because Earth already knew what the Council was planning. Colonel had cracked their communications 3 years ago. It was not easy. Council encryption was incredibly advanced, but was patient, brilliant, and very, very angry. Her grandmother had been killed when a Council peacekeeping fleet destroyed a human mining station for being too close to space. No warning, no negotiation, just death. Through intercepted messages, Earth learned the truth. The Council did not want humanity as members. They did not even want humanity as servants. They wanted humanity gone. The 12 species had done this before. 17 times in their history, they had encountered young civilizations that seemed too aggressive, too creative, too unpredictable. Each time they had voted for management. Each time that species had slowly disappeared. Some were sterilized through engineered plagues. Some were worked to death in mining operations. Some simply had their planets burned when they became too much trouble. The galaxy was quieter because of these actions. The Council liked quiet. Now it was humanity's turn. And reached their shuttle. Once the doors closed, let out a long breath. Her calm mask fell away, replaced by cold determination. "They bought it," she said. "They think we are afraid." Good pulled out a secure communication device. He typed a single phrase, "Operation Silent Thunder, authorized." Far away on Earth, Colonel received the message. She was sitting in an underground bunker that did not officially exist. Around her, dozens of officers worked at screens showing information from across the galaxy. Council fleet movements, trade routes, military installations, everything. Allowed herself a small smile. The council thought they were dealing with primitives. They had no idea what humanity had been building for the past 30 years. It started when Earth intercepted its first council transmission. The message spoke of humanity as one might speak of insects, annoying beneath notice, easily crushed. Earth's leaders realized they had two choices. They could try to appease these alien masters, bowing and scraping and hopping for mercy, or they could prepare. They chose to prepare. Every major nation on Earth had secretly united. Old enemies became partners. Resources that once went to fighting each other now went to building something new, something the galaxy had never seen. On the surface, Earth looked normal. Politicians argued. Economies rose and fell. People lived their lives. But beneath that surface, hidden in deep bunkers and hollowed-out asteroids, the real work continued. New weapons, new ships, new technology that the Council said was impossible. Humanity did not believe in impossible. Humanity believed in survival. As Shuttle jumped into hyperspace, heading home, he looked at, "How long do we have?" She checked her. "Intelligence says the Council will send their pacification fleet in about 8 months. 300 warships, enough to glass every human world twice over." "Then we have 8 months to finish everything." Nodded, "We will be ready in 6. The stars streamed past the shuttle's windows. Somewhere out there, the Council was already celebrating. They had put the troublesome humans in their place. Soon, another problem species would be erased from history. They had no idea that history was about to change forever. For 6 months, Earth gave the galaxy exactly what it expected to see. President appeared on every news channel looking tired and defeated. He gave speeches about the unfairness of the Council's decision. He begged other species for support. He promised that humanity would comply with all demands. His voice cracked with emotion. His eyes showed despair. It was the greatest acting performance in human history. In reality, spent his nights in the command bunker, reviewing progress reports and making decisions that would shape the future of his species. He was not defeated. He was furious, and fury, properly directed, could move mountains. Doctor traveled from world to world, meeting with alien diplomats. She pleaded for reduced tribute payments. She accepted insults with bowed head and soft apologies. Council observers reported that the human delegation was completely broken. Some even felt sorry for them. Meanwhile, Agent Nam was doing her real job. Had the face of someone you would forget immediately. Plain features, average height, quiet voice. This made her perfect for intelligence work. She had spent 15 years learning how Council species thought, what they feared, and what they wanted to believe. Now she fed them lies wrapped in truth. She let Council spies discover secret Earth documents. These documents showed economic collapse, military budget cuts, and political chaos. They showed protest movements demanding surrender. They showed generals arguing with politicians about whether to simply give up. All of it was fake, but it was exactly what the Council wanted to see. "Humans are breaking," the intelligence chief reported to the High Speaker. "They will not resist when the pacification fleet arrives. This will be easier than we thought." The High Speaker was pleased. He ordered the fleet to take its time preparing. No need to rush. The humans were already defeated in spirit. While the Council relaxed, Chief Engineer Shin worked 20-hour days. Was small and quiet, with thick glasses and oil-stained fingers. She did not look like someone who would change the galaxy, but looks were deceiving. Inside her mind lived ideas that Council scientists had declared impossible. The folding gate was her greatest creation. Council ships used hyperspace to travel between stars. It was fast, but it had limits. Ships had to follow certain paths. They could be tracked. They could be intercepted. The folding gate was different. It created a direct connection between 2 points in space. One moment you were here. The next moment you were there. No travel time, no warning, no way to predict where you would appear. Council Physics said this was impossible, had proven Council Physics wrong. She stood in a massive underground hangar, watching technicians install the latest gate generator into a warship. The ship looked like a simple cargo freighter on the outside. Boring. Harmless. Inside, it carried enough firepower to destroy a small moon. 2,000 ships like this one waited in hidden locations across human space. Each one was listed in public records as a mining vessel or transport ship. Each one was actually a weapon of war. General commanded this secret fleet. He was old for a soldier, with hair and a face full of scars. He had fought in 3 wars back when humans still fought each other. Now, he led the most important military operation his species had ever attempted. Every night ran simulations. His staff had mapped every council military installation. They knew patrol routes, defense networks, and communication systems. They had found weaknesses that council commanders had forgotten existed. "We hit them everywhere at once," explained to his officers. "Before they can react, before they can coordinate, before they can even understand what is happening. Speed is everything. Precision is everything. We cannot give them time to recover." Captain would lead the main strike group. She was young for such responsibility, only 32 years old, but she had scored higher on tactical simulations than anyone in Earth's history. More importantly, she understood what this mission meant. "We are not fighting for revenge," she told her crew. "We are fighting for every human child who will ever be born. We are fighting so that they can grow up free." As months passed, the deception deepened. Colonel intercepted a council message that made her blood run cold. The pacification fleet would not just conquer human worlds, they planned to sterilize them. Special weapons would make human women unable to have children. Within 2 generations, humanity would simply die out. Clean, quiet, no messy genocide, just slow extinction. She shared this information with President. His face went pale, then hard. "How certain are you?" he asked. "Completely certain, sir. They have done this before to others." Was silent for a long moment. Then he nodded. "We show no mercy to those who plan murder. Remember that, Colonel. Remember it when the time comes." The 6th month ended. Earth was ready. 2,000 ships waited in the darkness between stars. 10 million soldiers had trained in secret facilities. Weapons that could crack planets sat in hidden armories. The folding gate network was complete and tested. The Council's pacification fleet was still 2 months away from launching. They were taking their time, enjoying their coming victory. They did not know that victory was already impossible. On the last night before everything changed, Admiral Park stood on a hill outside his. The stars above him looked peaceful. Somewhere up there, aliens were planning to murder his entire species. His communicator buzzed. It was General. "All units report ready, Admiral. We launch on your command." Looked at the stars one more time. He thought about his parents, both dead now. He thought about children he had never had, futures he had never lived. He thought about what humanity might become if they survived the next few days. "Launch in 12 hours, he said. "May God forgive us for what we are about to do." He closed the communication and walked back to his ship. There was no more time for doubt. The galaxy was about to learn what humanity could do when survival was at stake. At exactly 400 Universal Standard Time, every light in the galaxy flickered. It lasted only a moment. Most beings did not even notice. Power systems glitched. Screens went dark for a heartbeat. Then everything returned to normal. Everything except the balance of power in the known universe. Captain stood on the bridge of the horizon's edge as reality folded around her ship. One moment they floated in empty space near Earth. The next moment the planet Nexus Prime filled there, the Council's capital, the heart of their power, the most protected world in the galaxy. His hands did not shake, her voice did not waver. All weapons online, shields at maximum, signal all strike groups. Across the galaxy, 47 other human fleets appeared at the same instant. They materialized above Council, military bases, and communication stations. Ships that had been listed as harmless cargo freighters suddenly revealed their true nature. The Council had no warning. Their sensors could not detect folding gate travel. Their defensive networks were designed to spot ships coming through hyperspace. They were looking in the wrong direction. Admiral Park broadcast on every frequency the Council used. His voice reached billions of beings across hundreds of worlds. To the Galactic Council, you voted in secret to destroy humanity. You plan to sterilize our women and watch us die out over 2 generations. We have proof of this. We also have proof of 17 other species you murdered the same way. Your reign of terror ends now. This is not a war. This is justice. On Nexus Prime, the High Speaker was eating his morning meal when the broadcast reached him. His 4 hands dropped the food. His silver face went pale. "Impossible," he whispered. "This is impossible." But it was very possible, and it was happening. Lieutenant led the ground insertion team. His soldiers wore advanced combat suits that the Council said could not exist. Neural links connected them, allowing perfect coordination. They moved like one organism with many bodies. Their target was the Council chamber itself. His team appeared inside the building using personal fold devices. Council guards tried to respond, but human soldiers were faster. Stun weapons dropped aliens before they could raise their rifles. No one died. That was important. Humanity wanted to prove a point. In 60 seconds, team controlled the building. The 12 Council delegates found themselves surrounded by human soldiers. Some tried to run. Some tried to fight. All of them failed. The High Speaker stood in the center of the chamber, still in his sleeping robes. "You cannot do this," he said. "You are primitives. You are nothing." Stepped aside as Doctor walked into the room. She looked different from the defeated diplomat the Council remembered. Her back was straight. Her eyes were cold. She moved like someone who had stopped pretending. "6 months ago, I stood in this room and begged for mercy," said. "You laughed at me. You called my people insects. You planned to murder us all." She smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "You should have checked if the insects had stingers." Across the galaxy, the pattern repeated. Captain's battle group disabled the defensive network in 11 seconds. Quantum disruption pulses shut down every weapon platform, every sensor array, every shield generator. The weapons did not destroy. They simply turned things off. Commander's fleet surrounded their famous orbital fortress, pride of their military, found that its weapons would not fire. Human hackers had rewritten their targeting systems months ago, hiding the changes until this moment. The pacification fleet, still docked at its staging base, never launched. Chief Engineer had designed a special virus for their engine systems. Every ship found its power cores fused solid. 300 warships became 300 pieces of floating metal. General watched the reports come in from his command center. Green lights appeared across his display. Target after target fell under human control. The timing was perfect. The execution was flawless. "Civilian casualties?" he asked. "0 confirmed, sir," his aide reported. "All strikes targeted military and government infrastructure only." Nodded, this was important. Humanity was proving that it could destroy the Council without becoming monsters. Power without cruelty. Strength without evil. This was the message they wanted to send. Not everyone understood immediately. The observer had watched silently as team took control of the Council chamber. Now he spoke for the first time. His voice came through translation software, flat and mechanical. "You could kill us all. Your weapons are clearly superior. Why do you not turn to face him? Because we are not you. We do not murder species for being different. We do not sterilize worlds for being inconvenient. We wanted to survive. We wanted justice. We did not want to become the thing we fought against. There was silent for a long moment. Then he did something no human had ever seen do. He bowed his great head. We watched 17 species disappear, he said. We said nothing. We did nothing. Perhaps we deserve to be conquered. Instead, you offer us something we do not understand. You offer us shame and the chance to be better. Across the galaxy, the fighting stopped. There had not been much fighting to begin with. Human strikes had been so fast, so precise, that most Council military forces never even had time to respond. The war lasted 60 seconds. The galaxy would remember it forever. Admiral broadcast one final message as the dust settled. The old order is finished. What comes next is up to all of us. Humanity does not want to rule the galaxy. We want to live in it. We want our children to grow up free. If you share these goals, we can build something new together. If you do not, remember what happened today. Remember that we could have killed billions. Remember that we chose not to. The council delegates sat in shock, surrounded by soldiers from a species they had called primitive. The High Speaker's 4 hands trembled. Everything he believed about the universe had just been proven wrong. History had a new chapter, and humanity was holding the pen. News traveled at the speed of light, and panic traveled even faster. Within hours, every inhabited world knew what had happened. The mighty council, rulers of the galaxy for 9,000 years, had been brought to their knees in 60 seconds. By humans, the species everyone had dismissed as violent primitives. Fear spread like wildfire. Species that had never thought about humanity suddenly wondered if human ships would appear above their worlds. Governments held emergency meetings. Military commanders looked at their defenses and realized they were useless against weapons that could simply appear anywhere. But the expected conquest never came. Instead, Commander's humanitarian fleet arrived with food supplies. They had been suffering from a crop disease for 3 years. The Council had promised help but never delivered. Now human ships filled their skis, not with weapons but with grain. Walked through the capital city with only 2 guards, watched her with wide, frightened eyes. She smiled at a young child hiding behind its mother. "We are not here to hurt you," she said, her words translated by a small device on her collar. "We are here to help. Take what you need. There is no cost." The mother stared at her in disbelief. "Why would you help us? We laughed at your people. Our delegate mocked you in the council chamber." Shrugged, children do not choose what their leaders say. Why should they starve for it? Stories like this spread almost as fast as the fear. Human soldiers building shelters for refugees. Human doctors treating alien diseases. Human engineers fixing broken power systems that the council had ignored for decades. Not everyone accepted the help. The military attempted a counterattack 3 weeks after the 60-second war. A group of commanders gathered 12 warships and launched an assault on the human fleet near there. They were proud warriors. They would not accept defeat. Captain commanded the human response. She had 40 ships under her command, each one more powerful than anything that had ever built. The battle lasted 4 minutes. Human weapons disabled ships without destroying them. Engines went dead. Weapons went silent. Life support kept running. When the crews finally surrendered, human shuttles came to evacuate them. Personally greeted the enemy commander when he was brought aboard her ship. He was tall and proud, refusing to bow his head even in defeat. "Why did you not kill us?" he demanded. "We attacked you. We tried to destroy your ships. You had every right to fire back." Looked at him calmly. "What would killing you prove? That we are stronger. We already know that. You already know that. Your crews are alive. Your ships can be repaired. Go home. Tell your people that humanity does not want war. Tell them that we want neighbors, not subjects." The commander had no answer. In his entire life, he had never met an enemy who showed mercy. The council certainly never had. Colonel worked day and night processing intelligence reports. The galaxy was changing faster than anyone had predicted. Old alliances were breaking apart. Species that had hated each other for centuries were suddenly talking about cooperation. The council kept everyone divided, explained to President during a briefing. They encouraged conflicts between species because fighting neighbors could not challenge council authority. Now that the council is gone, these species are realizing they have more in common than they thought. Nodded slowly, and the council leadership. Under house arrest on Nexus Prime. We have enough evidence of their crimes to keep them locked up forever, but many are asking what we plan to do with them. What do you recommend? Thought carefully before answering. A trial, public, fair. Let the galaxy see their crimes and judge them together. We cannot just execute them in secret. That would make us no better than they were. The idea of a trial spread quickly. Species that had suffered under council rule wanted to speak. They wanted to share stories of family members murdered, worlds exploited, futures destroyed. The pain was enormous. 9,000 years of cruelty had left deep scars. Dr. Han led the team rebuilding galactic economics. The council had created a system where wealth flowed upward to the 12 ruling species. Everyone else worked and suffered to support their luxury. We cannot fix this overnight, told a gathering of economic experts from 30 different species. But we can start. Fair trade agreements, debt forgiveness for exploited worlds, investment in education and infrastructure for species that were deliberately kept poor. An economist spoke up. You are giving away advantage. Why? You could use this moment to make humanity wealthy beyond imagination. Smiled. Wealth means nothing if everyone around you is poor and angry. A rising tide lifts all ships. Our parents taught us that. Maybe the council never learned it. Slowly, trust began to build. They were the first to formally request alliance talks. Their ambassador arrived on Earth with gifts and apologies. Admiral met him at the landing platform. We watched 17 species die, they said. We were afraid to speak. We were cowards. Now we wish to be brave. Too late for those who died, but perhaps not too late for those who live. Accepted the gifts graciously. No one can change the past, but everyone can shape the future. Welcome to Earth, Ambassador. Let us talk about what comes next. Across the galaxy, similar conversations were happening. Old enemies were becoming new friends. Species that had never trusted each other were finding common ground. The fear that followed the 60-second war was slowly transforming into something else. Hope. It was fragile. It was uncertain. Many problems remained. Some species still wanted revenge. Some wanted power for themselves. Some simply could not believe that humanity meant what it said. But for the first time in 9,000 years, the galaxy had a chance to become something different, something better. And humanity, the species everyone had underestimated, was leading the way. 1 year after the 60-second war, the city hosted the largest gathering in galactic history. Representatives from 43 species filled the newly built Unity Hall. The building had been designed to hold beings of every size, from the tiny to the massive. Sunlight streamed through crystal windows, creating rainbows that danced across the assembly. President stood at the central platform. Behind him, a screen showed Earth floating in space. Beside him stood leaders from species that had once been enemies. Now they were partners. 1 year ago, humanity struck back against those who planned our destruction, began. We won, but winning a war is easy. Building a peace is hard. Today, we take the first step towards something the galaxy has never seen, a true alliance. Not masters and slaves, not rulers and subjects, partners, equals, friends. The proposal was simple but revolutionary. Each species would have one vote, regardless of military power or economic strength. Decisions would require majority agreement. No single species could dominate the others. Shared technology, shared knowledge, shared responsibility for defense. Some delegates looked skeptical. 9,000 years of council rule had taught them that power was everything. They could not understand why humanity would give up the advantage it had won. Admiral Park addressed their concerns. "I know what you are thinking. We could rule the galaxy if we wanted to. Our weapons are superior. Our technology is advanced. Why would we share power instead of keeping it?" He paused, looking around the room. Because power without purpose is meaningless. Because ruling through fear only creates enemies waiting to strike back. Because my grandmother used to say that the strongest person in the room is often the loneliest. A few delegates smiled at that. Others leaned forward, listening more carefully. "Humanity has spent most of its history fighting itself," continued. "We nearly destroyed our own world multiple times. We learned painfully that cooperation builds more than conflict. We want to share that lesson, not because we are saints, we are not, but because we believe in something better than the galaxy we found." The vote took 3 hours. Species debated among themselves. Old grudges surfaced. New worries emerged. But slowly, hands and tentacles and claws rose in agreement. 42 species voted yes. Only the abstained, their pride still wounded. But even they did not vote no. Even they could see that something important was happening. When the final count was announced, the hall erupted in sounds that translation. Cheers and clicks and whistles and growls all mixed together in celebration. For the first time in 9,000 years, the galaxy had chosen hope over fear. Doctor watched from a balcony above the assembly. She had spent so many months pretending to be defeated. Now she could finally stop pretending. General found her there. The old soldier looked tired but satisfied. "We did it," he said simply. "We started something," corrected. "The hard work is still ahead." "True, but at least there is work to do. A year ago we were preparing to die fighting. Now we are preparing to live building." Chief Engineer Shin had announced the previous day that folding gate technology would be shared freely with all Alliance members. Many had protested this decision. It was humanity's greatest advantage. Why give it away? His answer was characteristic. Technology kept secret becomes obsolete. Technology shared becomes foundation. I did not build the gates to win wars. I built them to connect worlds. Let them fulfill their purpose. Agent Nam had a new assignment now. Instead of feeding lies to enemies, she was building an intelligence-sharing network among friends. Species that had spied on each other for centuries were learning to share information openly. "It is strange," she admitted to Colonel. "I spent my whole career learning to deceive. Now I have to learn to trust." Nodded, "We all do. That is the point." Lieutenant, promoted twice since the war, trained the first joint species military unit. Young soldiers from 12 different species learned to fight side by side. They struggled with different languages, different customs, different bodies. But slowly, they became a team. "The enemy is not each other," told them constantly. "The enemy is fear. The enemy is hate. The enemy is the belief that different means dangerous. We fight those enemies by standing together." One evening, Admiral walked through a park inn. Human children played alongside young and their parents watched nervously at first, then relaxed as laughter filled the air. Children did not care about species differences. They only cared about who wanted to play. An elderly approached. "My are out there," he said, "playing with human children. I never thought I would see such a thing." "Neither did I," admitted. "Do you think this peace will last?" Watched a human girl showing a boy how to throw a ball. The boy's fur rippled with delight when he finally caught it. "I think peace is not something that lasts by itself. It is something we have to build every day, every choice, every moment. It is hard work, but good work." The considered this. "Your species is strange. You fight with terrible fury. Then you forgive with equal strength. I do not understand you." "Sometimes we do not understand ourselves," said with a smile. But we keep trying. That is the human way. The sun set over, painting the sky in colors that had no names. Somewhere in orbit, ships from a dozen species worked together on a new project. Somewhere across the galaxy, old wounds were slowly healing. Somewhere in the darkness between stars, new possibilities waited to be discovered. The Galactic Council had deceived itself into believing humanity was weak. They had planned murder and called it peace. They had practiced cruelty and called it order. They were wrong about everything. Now the galaxy was waking up to a new dawn. It would not be perfect. There would be setbacks and failures and moments of doubt. But for the first time in 9,000 years, the future was not ruled by fear. It was ruled by hope. And humanity, the small species from the small blue planet, had given the galaxy that gift. Not through conquest, not through cruelty, but through the simple belief that tomorrow could be better than yesterday. That was the human way, and now it was becoming the galactic way too.